Hi guys, today we're working with volumes of prisms. So a prism, your volume is going to be big B times H. And what that big B represents is the area of your base, whatever shape your base is, and then it's going to be times the height of your prism. So it's going to be the height between both bases. And it matters on what shape your base is. So in this case, what is this? Well, what shape is my base? My base, again, it has to be two planes that are parallel to one another, the same shape, but they are also parallel. So this one, what are my parallel sides? Well, it would be that guy there, and he would be parallel to this triangle back here. Which means the triangles are the things that are parallel. That's going to be your base. So this is a triangular prism. Same thing here. Where is your base at? What are the two sides that are parallel to one another? So that's one, which means it's going to be parallel to this guy up here. That's your second parallel side. So again, it's off of the triangle, which means this is, again, a triangular prism. Now for this one, we do have more than one set of parallel sides. For volume though, it doesn't really matter. So our base for this guy is the one and how it's presented to you. It's the guy on the bottom, which means this is going to be the second parallel side. And what shape is your base? That would be a rectangle, and this is where you get a rectangular prism. And this one, well, if I have all of the sides exactly the same, and that'd be parallel to this guy here, but it's also the same as this guy over here and this guy over here in front. If all of them are exactly the same, then that would just be a cube. So again, they get their names by the shape of the base, whatever the ones that are parallel to each other. So these are by the base. Parallel planes are your bases here. So this one, which ones are parallel to one another? Well, that would be this guy down here. He is parallel to this top guy. And the same thing for here. And how many sides is this? That would be 5, a pentagon, which means this is a pentagonal prism. Pentagon as the bases. Which ones are your base? The two sides that are parallel. So here it has it highlighted for you already. And it's going to be this guy right here. Well, that's the same as down here where I have my two parallel sides of my shape, and then the other two, and it's the same as this guy back here. Well, what shape are those bases? That would be a trapezoid. Those bases are a trapezoid, which means these two figures are going to be your trapezoidal prism off of the trapezoid as the base. And then I have this guy. So here is my side that's parallel to this guy down here, even though you can't really see him. And same thing is true for this one. And how many sides does this shape have? That would be 6. 6 would be a hexagon, which means this is a hexagonal prism. So again, prisms get their name based on their base. And the base is the one that has to be parallel to another side. The same shape and has to be parallel. The way that you figure out your volume, finding area of the base, but again, your base can be different. It matters on what shape your base is. So let's say that you have a rectangular prism as your base, then how would you find the area of this? You're just going to multiply length times width. If you had a triangle, a right triangle as your bases, how would you find the area of this? It's just 1/2 base times height. Now it can get more challenging when you have a triangle like this as your base. It would still be a triangular prism. So I'm just giving you one shape of the base. So you have to imagine in your head that it's going something like this. And you have this guy in the back. But I'm just looking at the base right now. So I'm not looking at the entire figure, just the base. So for the base, if it's something like this, you're actually going to have to figure out what the base and height is just of this base. Because again, looking at this guy, you have your base and your height for this triangle. But on this triangle, you don't have that. So how would you do that? You would have to figure out what your height is, and you'd probably have to use Pythagorean theorem of some sort. So they can get a little tricky with the triangles as your base. Or if you have a circle which would be for a cylinder. But if you had a circle, you would find the area of that guy to be pi r squared. So those ones are the ones that we know. Now adding on to ones that we don't know. Say you had a trapezoid as your base. So it was a trapezoidal prism. How would you find the area of this guy? So the area of your trapezoid is equal to 1/2 the height times base 1 plus base 2. And base 1 and base 2 are just the parallel sides. It doesn't really matter which one you call 1 and 2. And then the height is the distance between these two guys. We also have a pentagon. Your pentagon and your hexagon. These ones can get challenging. How you find the area of this, you're going to go off of your central angles. So in this case here, I actually can make 5 triangles, but I want to find the area of just one triangle. And once I find the area of that one triangle, I can multiply it by 5 to figure out the area of this entire thing. Right? So when we're dealing with prisms, we're only going to be dealing with regular prisms, meaning the bases. If it's a pentagon or a hexagon or an octagon, anything like that, they're going to be regular, so all the sides are exactly the same. So if I find the area of this one triangle, so I can find the area of that one triangle, and I'm going to multiply him by 5 because there's 5 triangles in here. Same thing is true for my hexagon. So I have 6 triangles in my hexagon. I can just look at one of these, figure out the area of just one of those triangles, and I'm going to multiply him by 6 because I have 6 triangles. Okay, so this can get a little challenging. Here we go. Let's practice with our rectangular prism here. So big B, again, it's the area of your base. Well, your base is your 5 times 8. So this is your base down here and right here, right? Those two guys. And it's going to be 5 times 8. And we're going to multiply that by 10 because that is the distance between your two bases. That's how tall your prism is, that 10. And we just multiply 5 times 8 times 10, and that gives us 400. So these ones are the really easy ones. Truly, it doesn't matter. You're just multiplying the 3 numbers together. All right, now for our triangle. You have to be careful because in a triangle, you do have 2 heights. You have the height of your prism, so how far apart your two bases are from one another, and then just looking inside your base, just this triangle right here, this base has a height of 3. Okay, so I'm going to take my area of my base, my big B, so I'm just going to have this be blue, my big B, and that's going to be 1/2 of my base, which is 7 times my height of 3. And I'm going to multiply it by the height of my prism, which is 11. Again, this blue part here is only talking about my base of my prism. The red is talking about the height of the entire prism. So I'm going to replace this with 1/2 my base, 7 times my height of 3 of the base, and times that by 11, which is the height of my prism. So take a second and see if you understand the difference between these two H's here. They are different. Again, this blue H is dealing with your base, the height of the base, while the red is dealing with the height of the prism, how far away your two bases are from one another. Because remember, we have our base, another base back here. So how far apart your two bases are from one another. Then you multiply all this and you get 115.5. For your trapezoid. Okay, again, I'm going to take my big B times H. Big B is area of my base. My base here is a trapezoid. So just looking at that trapezoid, my formula for a trapezoid is going to be 1/2 the height of the trapezoid times the base 1 plus base 2, which are the parallel sides of the trapezoid. Again, this is just dealing with this guy here. This is all I care about right now. And I'm going to tell you that the height of your trapezoid is 5. So now when you replace this, you're going to get 1/2 of the height of your base. The height of my base is 5 times the two bases added together. Well, one base is 8, and this base right here is the exact same as this guy right here, which means he also has a length of 6. So I'm going to add 6 and 8, and those are my base 1 plus base 2. Again, all of this, 35 is just my big B. I just found the area of my base. And now I'm going to take my area of my base and I'm going to times it by the height of the entire prism. So that 10 is my height of the prism, so 35 times 10, and that gives me 350. Oh, and this should be cubed actually. Squared. All right, now I have a pentagonal prism as my base. So I'm going to just take this guy. I'm going to take him out. So he's going to look like this. Because if I want to figure out my volume is equal to big B times H, I'm just going to work with my big B. I got to figure out what is the area of this base here. That's my big B. So that's what I'm going to work on right now first. So I'm going to take this where they're telling me that because it's regular, all sides are the same, and I have a side length of 12. So here is 12. And they're telling me from my center going down to a side is 8.3, which helps us because that's going to be the height of my triangle. So I want to figure out the area of this one little triangle right here, which means it's going to be 1/2 the base times the height of 8.3. And so when I multiply 6 times 8.3, I get 49.8. So the area of this one triangle is 49.8. But I have 5 triangles in here, which means this is 49.8, this is 49.8, 49.8, and so on. So in other words, I'm going to take this 49.8 and I'm going to multiply him by 5. And that's going to give me 249. So this is going to be my area of my base, 249. And I'm going to multiply that by my height of my prism. How tall is my prism? And that would be right here at 6. So 249 times 6, and that would give me 1,494. And our last one, if you want to pause this and try this one on your own, this one is a hexagon as its base. So you're going to do a hexagonal prism. I'm going to take this hexagon right here. So he looks like and all of the sides are exactly the same. They have a measurement of 9. So 9 going all the way around. Now I'm going to go from my center going out. And they're telling me from the center going down to a side, this length right here is 7.8. So I'm going to find the area. To find the area of my base here, so the area of this guy, I first need to find the area of one triangle, and then I'm going to multiply him by 6 triangles. So finding the area of just this one triangle. This guy is going to be equal to, whoops, let's go back to that. This guy is going to be equal to, your area is equal to 1/2 your base of 9 times your height of 7.8. Okay, I'm going to take 9 times 7.8, 9 times 7.8, and divide him by 2, and that's going to give me 35.1. That's the area of this one triangle, but again, I have 6 triangles. So I'm going to take this 35.1 and times him by 6. And that's going to give me 210.6. So that is going to be the area of my base, 210.6. And now I'm going to multiply that by my height. And the height of my entire prism is 11. So when I multiply those guys together, I get 2,316.6. All right, guys, go ahead and let me know if you have any questions. You can text me, and I will respond to you and help you out if you have questions on these. Good luck.